What does it mean to actually pursue freedom? Today's video, I want to focus on that because for many of you, you're probably looking for a way out. Maybe you did life checking all the boxes and doing things right, but you still don't find that you're fulfilled. You still feel overworked and underpaid, and you're just trying to find a different way to exist in this world. And I mean, for most of us, we're not out here, and again, let me not project, but we're not out here trying to be billionaires. I personally do not have the aspiration or desire to have $1 billion to my name. Number one, well, first of all, God, if it's your will, let me not block your path. Let me I don't need $1 billion. Yes, it would expand my generosity and I could use it to fund, help, and, you know, push forward all these organizations and causes. But the responsibility of $1 billion, it's not for me. It's not. And I think for many of us, we are just looking to have more than enough. Because if we have lived at just enough for all of our lives, we are penny pinching, we are constantly financially anxious, we are not living abundantly, we're not thinking of our highest selves when we're making decisions, we're always operating from a place of lack and scarcity. And just that's not a way that you want to live forever. I lived that way for most of my 20s and even some of my early 30s. So I am speaking to you from the other side of someone who I have more than enough, but I also believe that it's not a number that I'm pursuing. I'm not looking at, all right, this is a number that I'm waiting to see in my bank account, in my investments. I know how much I need to live a comfortable life. Everything above that is amazing, but it is not going to change my baseline level of happiness. And I think there was a study done. It varies by the country, but most Americans believe that, again, this is probably pre 2020, but $75,000 US dollars used to be the amount that most Americans believed would be enough. Like that would guarantee them happiness for the year. I actually believe it's now closer to 150K. I believe people needed to have doubled that number because life is just expensive now. And you want to just leave room for margin. You don't always want to just have enough to get by. And we're not in this world to just have enough, to just barely pay our bills, to just barely sleep 8 hours a night, to just barely have time to socialize, to just barely make it through each day and each week. I I started to use Mondays, for an example. Mondays are my favorite days of the week because I go to the salon, I get pampered, I get my nails done, I socialize, I meet up with a girlfriend. I do things that actively remind myself of my freedom because for most of my life, I was told to hate my Mondays. I was told to dread at the beginning of a new week. So I reclaimed it. I was like, you know what? Most people like they have the Sunday scaries and then they hate their Mondays because they're going into an office knowing that they're going to be just sucked dry and drained of their energy. And by the time they get home, they have no capacity to pour into themselves or pursue their own hobbies or dreams. And I actually think that's the goal of corporate. I really think that a salary is what you trade in order for you to never pursue more than what you can give to another organization. And I've said this before, I don't think we're all meant to be entrepreneurs, but I do think we all have a calling, we all have a path, and we all have potential that's worthy of pursuing. I don't know what that dream looks like for you. I don't know what a fulfilled path looks like for you. You have to determine that. And once you do, it's nothing more than a mental decision. It's a click, it's a switch. It's a, you know what? What would it look like to take 10 minutes every day for the next year and intentionally invest in myself? That investment could be reading, it could be podcasting, it could be strengthening a high income earning skill. And I'm always mindful that if I am not growing, I'm probably plateauing. Life is full of change, and I always want to be triggering positive change in my life. It's why I'm constantly hosting, constantly learning, constantly investing in myself, constantly reading, constantly just putting myself out there. Even travel, I think, is a form of education. I think it expands your mind and it expands the way you see life. So yeah, I want you to have an approach that allows for grace and space for you to just figure things out. Because a lot of my clients and a lot of, mentees that I've worked with will tell me, "Well, Glow, I don't know what I want, and I'm not sure how to get it, and I don't know where to start." And so we have all of these almost like we have all of these let's just call it circumstances that make us feel like we're not worthy of pursuing until we have the answers, the money, the savings, the idea, the goal, whatever. So much of the process of pursuing freedom and fulfillment is literally experimentation. My entire life experience has been one big experiment. I am just constantly putting myself out there and asking, hmm, what's the worst that can happen? Let's see. I don't know that I want to live a life driven by my fears. I have fears. I promise you, I have the same fears as everyone else. I am not superhuman. I'm not cut from a different cloth. Okay. I have the same fears, the same insecurities, the same anxieties. I just chose to rise and live above them. If I have already experienced the worst case scenario, living below the poverty line, having a negative bank account, having my bank account closed because it was negative for so long, being in debt, having no change, sleeping on a park bench because I was homeless. I have experienced the worst of the worst, and ta-da, I'm still here. So I think it's a blessing and a luxury if you feel like life has handed you an unfair deck of cards. You have been dealt some of the worst of the worst. Like that is your advantage. That is leverage because you're still here. You're somehow watching this video. You have Wi-Fi. You have a mobile device. You have internet. You're okay. You're doing better than you think. And if you've already experienced something that was so deeply traumatic, understand that that actually makes you more relatable when you decide to turn that pain into a testimony or a powerful way to help and inspire others. And something that I want you to also realize is when you are thinking of teaching a skill or putting yourself out there as a creator, maybe you're going to make YouTube videos every day like I am, you might think, "Oh, well, Glow, I'm still on my journey. I don't have all my answers yet. And who's gonna even watch me? Like, I'm still figuring it out. I ain't got the fancy house and the big car, and people aren't looking for that anymore. Let's start there." But the reality is, most people are searching for those who are just a couple steps ahead of them. I always use this analogy that a mentor told me many years ago, but he was like, "Glow, if you want to start a pizza chain and you have access to the CEO of Pizza Hut and your neighbor next door who owns a local mom and shop pizza store in your city, who are you calling when you are ready to get off the ground? CEO of Pizza Hut or your neighbor who has a local pizza chain?" I don't know what that was. You're calling your neighbor because they're closer to the ground. The CEO of Pizza Hut has jet fuel problems. Okay. He's not worried about helping the everyday entrepreneur, but the person next door, the neighbor next door, they they feel almost like this human obligation, which I hope you do as well, that if you have figured something out in life, it is your human responsibility to be like, "Who's behind me? Here's my hand." And to just offer a hand up to the person who also wants to do something that you're doing. So even with these videos, there was a comment, and shout out to you, Veronica, because you inspired me to say this part. But she was like, daily videos is a lot. I can't keep up. Like I would take your channel more seriously if you did every other day. But what Veronica doesn't realize is I'm not just making videos that are specifically for one person, one avatar, one journey. You'll notice that some days I'm talking about living in Bangkok, other days I'm talking about life abroad, other days entrepreneurship, content creation, chasing your dreams. Each of those pillars are going to reach a different type of person. But because I don't want to only speak to one person, it means I have to create more videos so that I can reach the people that I want to serve most. And I don't know, you also want to consider it like, I don't know, you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu items. I don't say, oh my gosh, like, why would you have so much food? I can't eat it all. Well, no one is expecting you to eat everything on the menu. It's there for you to select the title of the videos that speak to you. So similarly, I'm making videos with diversity, but I'm also diversity of topics and diversity of me. But also, I'm making them daily to hold myself accountable because I become a better speaker, I become a better creator, and I become more clear about what I want to talk about the more I do this. So understand, most creators, they're doing it for an audience of one. You got to serve yourself first. And then out of the abundance of the joy and the fun that you're having, hopefully the people on the other side can benefit. So if anyone's like a potential or aspiring content creator, I want you to serve yourself first. People will come and try to like dictate how you show up. Know that if you stop having fun with it, then that's the end of your channel. That's the end of your journey. So make sure you're always aligned with what you want to do and absolutely listen to the feedback, take the feedback with humility. I always welcome feedback, but I know who I am and I know my purpose and my mission and reason for doing it. So yeah, it's been really fun to just kind of go through the process of being like, oh yeah, this is why I do this. So when I think about, again, the person that is unclear and unsure about what their future looks like, I don't want you to put so much pressure on making like the right decision. All you need to do is make the next decision. Because in the continuum of decisions that you will have to make in pursuit of your dreams, there will be many, and you will mess up plenty of times. But the beauty of that is from a bird's eye perspective, if you zoom out, you're it's almost like the stock market. If you look at, realized gains over a 10-year period, you're going to be like, wow, I'm like net positive. This has been a 200% gain on this one individual stock. But if you were looking at the day-to-day fluctuation and volatility of the market, you could feel like, oh my gosh, one bad day, one bad decision is the end of my dream. But I have had so many pitfalls and so many detours and so many moments where I felt like, yeah, I've messed this up for good. But I have to always zoom out and have a bird's eye perspective, what I always call God's view. Like, you know what? God has already orchestrated and determined what I'm going to do. It is my job to be obedient and submit to his will, and also pray that God align my will and my heart with yours. Let me make sure that the things that you want for my life I also want for me. Because I could be stubborn and try and fight and force a certain life for me. And you know what? God allows us free will. He's a very generous God. So he will say, do what you want. But at some point, you're going to get sick and tired of banging your head against a wall because you're doing something that's out of alignment with who you are. I absolutely, positively, 1,000% believe that God, in his creation of us, in his creativity of his creation of us, gave each of us a gift. You can look at the parable of the talents. He gave all of us talents, all of us gifts. And it's our job in this world to experiment, try, course correct until we find the gift that comes so natural to us, someone else would need 10 years to study. There is something that you do. There is something about who you are. There is something about how you operate that is so natural, so God given. Someone else is literally in college spending years and thousands of dollars investing in that same skill, trying to get to where you are on a bad day. Okay, so I just wanted to make this video to encourage you. You are not doing as bad as you think, but it just starts with action. It just starts with the decision that I want different for myself. I don't want to keep waking up every day complaining about the life that I've been given, but then not doing anything different. You have the ability and the capacity to change every single day. You can literally say, you know what? I'm tired of the color blue, and you will never wear blue again. It is literally that simple, which isn't this a cute? I went to the night market here in Chiang Mai last night, and I got me and my friend these like gowns. I don't know, I'm gonna wear it today. I really like it. And so yeah, I just want to let you all know that whatever hardship you're going through, the circumstances that you're fighting to overcome, I've been through so much and worse, much of which I haven't shared publicly because it's very traumatic. And I don't know that it needs to be public information, but we have all been dealt a fair share of trauma. Hopefully, well, maybe you haven't. Maybe you're like, Chloe, I actually live a very good life. So let me not project too much. But I am speaking to the person who just feels like, they're down and out, like nothing has ever gone their way. And so they just don't feel like they have a chance at living a life that feels as good as it looks and sounds. But I just want to remind you that you can, and there's still time. Okay. Your dreams do not expire. So every single day is a beautiful day to start over. All right, y'all. If you're new here, my name is Glow. I'm making videos every single day, whether you can watch them all or not. You can check out here for some of the ways that you can learn from me and work with me, especially check out mycreativereset.com. If you are trying to finally monetize one of your ideas, this guidebook, it's like 90 days of coaching for 50 cents a day. You will love it. And then here's yesterday's video. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.